All right, we'd like to get this started and welcome everyone. I am Brant Packer, the producer of the Golf Channel. It is such a pleasure to be back and to be able to produce these championships. We've done 5 for the men and 4 for the women, and this is the one that we circle at the beginning of the season. And feels like college golf has a ton of momentum right now in terms of the level of play, the student athletes who we'll talk to. And the cool thing about college golf is that it travels, and we have the ability to do so many different tours, and everywhere we go, the talk is college golf. And I'll give you 3 examples real quick. We have the pleasure to produce the drive chip putt every year at Augusta National. Several years ago, we spent a little bit of time with Dr. Condoleezza Rice on Saturday night, and the one thing she wanted to talk about was the Haley Davis-Mariah Stackhouse match. And she went through every shot on the back 9. And we all kind of sat there. She's in her green jacket going through. I was texting and I was tweeting. And then when Haley hit this shot on 16, I couldn't believe it. And then Mariah, and we sat there and we went, she watched every shot. And then we're in Rio for the Olympics a couple years ago, and Alban Valenzuela, who was going to be a rising freshman at Stanford, all she did was talk about Stanford and she wanted to go back and play at Stanford. And, can we repeat? Can we get back to the Eastlake Cup? And I'm thinking, she's about to play in Rio, representing her country, and she's talking Stanford golf. And then, Alan, you'll get a kick out of this. This year at the Sony Open in Hawaii, Peter Uihlein and Kevin Tway were hitting balls Friday before they were playing. And we started talking about the championships, and they stopped hitting balls and just told Karsten Creek stories for about 10 minutes. And some of them were, well, we won't get into exactly what they talked about, but there were some pin placements and some things there. But it was really funny, and I felt bad. I'm like, these guys are trying to go make a cut. And all they wanted to do was talk Karsten Creek and Oklahoma State golf. So it doesn't matter what tour you're on, doesn't matter what event you're playing. The talk out there is college golf, and it's really, really special for us, and it's an honor for us to be a part of it. It seems like what I said before, the collegiate game has a tremendous amount of momentum, and it's been a pleasure for us to be covering that. And I think a lot of those, for us, for the 5 years, have been the venues. If you look on where we've been the last 5 years at Prairie Dunes, at the Concession Club, Eugene Country Club, Rich Harvest Farms, and now you throw in Karsten Creek. It's unmatched anywhere in the country. It's been great for us to be here several times and look at it, and I think it's going to showcase unbelievably well when we get here in a couple weeks, and it just adds to the great venues that the collegiate game has had. And before we go any further, we'd like to thank some people from Karsten Creek, from Rob and Brent, and what Travis is doing on the golf course and driving around yesterday. The rough's a little high, so I think that's kind of his deal. And I don't think we can talk about the collegiate game or Oklahoma State without mentioning the director of athletics, Mike Holder, and what he has meant not only to your university, I don't want to speak on behalf of you, but for the collegiate game. And Mike cannot be here today. He's at the Big 12 meetings. Although I think there might be, we haven't seen him at the Big 12 meetings. He might be out there with Travis trying to grow the rough a little bit. So we cannot confirm that he's there and he has landed, but part of me thinks he might be out there. But what Mike has meant for us and being part of the men's committee and being able to work with him on a daily basis and a one-on-one basis, and what he has meant for the collegiate game is incredibly special. And I think you guys should be very, very thankful and lucky to have Mike Holder as part of Oklahoma State athletics and the collegiate game. The point of today is to look forward for 2 weeks and to talk about what we're going to see and to preview the championships. But before we do that, we want to take a look back, not only at last year, but some of the several great moments that led up to the national championships. The inside joke in our truck is I'm good for about 5 cries a week when we do this event. So that if you don't get fired up watching that, man, it's awesome. So try not to break down here for this one. So we can't wait for 2 weeks to do this. I'd like to introduce the golf committee chairs: Ryan Colton from Holy Cross, Brad Hurlbut from Sacred Heart, the women's chair and the men's chair. Can you guys just talk a little bit about the momentum of college golf and previewing the championships this year?
You want to go first, Ryan?
Sure. First of all, just thank you for having us here. Our committee thinks that college golf, and specifically the women's game, is really at an unprecedented point. And I think right now, just looking at the excitement, the fact that we're here today, that we're 2 weeks away from having a championship at this beautiful venue. We had a great selection show last week for the women and last night for the men. We can't wait to get on the course at our regionals next week and then choose a field and come here and compete. We're just really excited for the momentum of women's golf in particular, college golf in general. And thanks to Karsten Creek and this beautiful venue and the partnership with the Golf Channel really has us where we are today. And we're really excited as a committee to see where we've been after 4 years of having the combined or the back-to-back championships, to see where we'll be as a game 4 years from now. So it's really exciting, the progress we've made in the 4 years that we've been doing this, and we're excited for not just this championship, but also beyond.
Great, and I'll just echo some of the remarks that Ryan said too, and it's just tremendous, the exposure of college golf on the men's and women's side that the Golf Channel has provided us with, and I think we're going to have over 100 hours of programming in the next 2 weeks, and I think that probably rivals anything besides maybe men's and women's basketball. But when you have somebody like Brant Packer there and you see the emotion that he displayed right there, it's fantastic, and that just spills over to everything that they do. Our selection shows were terrific yesterday, and the women's was as well, and what we did last year in Chicago, and I think just what they're going to be doing around the regionals and today speaks volumes, so we're thrilled with the partnership.
One of the great pleasures of doing this event is traveling the country and getting to know the student athletes and seeing a lot of campuses and getting to know the coaches. And you have two of the best here from a 1-2 punch, and Courtney Jones and Alan Braden. Let me just ask you guys real quick, the excitement of hosting the national championships at Karsten Creek. Can you just talk about what's going through your mind?
Well, I mean, for me, this will be the very first time. I started here in 2011, just after the men's championship. But Stillwater, Oklahoma State University is it's such a special community, and be able to share I guess our sense of family and community with the world and on the Golf Channel, and to have the opportunity to showcase the very best in women's and men's college golf here at Karsten Creek. I mean, it's a true honor. As a coach, we want to roll out the orange carpet, and we have a fantastic staff here at Karsten Creek with Rob Land and Travis Lovings, and you know, we're just so blessed, but to be able to share that with the world and partner with Golf Channel and showcase these amazing young women and young men, I mean, it's a dream come true.
Yeah, that's why we built Karsten Creek. That was the vision that Coach Holder had, to have a fantastic venue, to bring in the best teams in the country and find out who that is. So we're excited to have everybody here. It'll be the first time that the world gets to see Karsten Creek on the Golf Channel. Back-to-back weeks. That'll be special. And the state of Oklahoma cares about golf. You know, obviously with what Ryan's doing down at OU and what we've done here, the success of all of our men's and women's teams, the crowds show out for that. So that's one thing I'm hoping, is that these guys and girls will get to play in front of big crowds. So hopefully we can get the word out, get the crowds to turn out, and put on a good show. I think we have 800 volunteers that are signed up to work the tournament, so we want to make it a special experience for everybody here, and we can't wait.
A couple follow-ups. Any extra pressure, knowing that it's right here in your backyard? Have you or your team felt anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great pressure, but it's a motivating pressure. We've got amazing student athletes that give absolutely everything each day in the classroom. You know, we had 6:30 a.m. workouts this morning, and our girls give it their all every day. And when you get to drive into Karsten Creek and see the national championship banners up there, I think it does light that fire a little bit more, you know, and our team's just done a great job of pushing each other and helping each other and giving it all we got. So.
Expectations on our team are the same no matter where we're going. You're always more comfortable at home. So seeing some friendly faces in the crowd, familiar venue, that's nothing but an advantage.
And in order to be able to play for it, you have to get through regionals. Can you talk a little bit about the pressure of the regionals? And there are a lot of people that argue it is one of the toughest events, if not the toughest event you play all year. Just for the people who aren't familiar with the regionals, can you just describe that a little bit?
Well, at the end of the day, the championship actually starts at the regional. So that's certainly something that's there. You can't look ahead to the championship. You have to take care of your business at the regional for sure. So that's the way we look at it. The championship starts for us next week in Columbus.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing 3 rounds of golf, and you're going to, I mean, take it one shot at a time. You try to keep it really simple, and at the end of the day, that's the message to our girls, is you're just trying to stick to our routine and just treat it like you would any other tournament and have some fun, and hopefully we can send our seniors off like we want to.
And finally, the golf course itself. Without giving too much away, and I assume you're not going to say you want to play from the rough and be above the hole. I assume that's not coming. But the keys to Karsten Creek, kind of what can the fans, the viewers, and the student athletes that are coming, what can they expect with this golf course?
Well, it's, you know, hopefully we're going to have it in immaculate shape. I mean, the beauty of Karsten Creek and just the championship golf course that it is it requires really about everything in the game of golf. It requires patience. It requires discipline, great course management. It's a little unique on the women's side from a course setup and management standpoint. We aren't going to be playing from the tips, so there is a little bit more that goes into the course setup beforehand, and Allison and the NCAA have done a really great job in really analyzing that and looking at the setup of the golf course in order to you know, have it as a championship test for these women.
Yeah, Karsten Creek tests all parts of your game. One unique thing about the golf course is you feel like you're all by yourself. You really can't see any other holes when you're on one hole. So maybe that'll be a reminder to all the players to take things one shot at a time. But certainly it's a very fair test of golf, and it'll identify the best team.
Now we turn it over to a player that really doesn't need much introduction. Her career at Oklahoma State is unbelievable. And I think she can also say that she's the only one in this room that says every event she wins is a major. So it's just pretty impressive to say that that's all we have. But I will say on behalf of Golf Channel, we're still not real happy with you because it took 8 holes for you to win that major and 2 days. You cost a lot of flights. If you could have won that thing on 1 hole, that's all we would have asked at that point. So, but in all seriousness, congratulations. And I know it's great for everyone to welcome you back home. Your experience of playing at Oklahoma State, and can you just talk about it a little bit and then what that did to prepare you for that LPGA life?
First of all, thank you. And I tried to win it sooner, I promise. I mean, I can honestly say I wouldn't be sitting where I am today if it wasn't for my 4 years that I spent here at Oklahoma State and Karsten Creek. And I mean, just a little proof of that too is that my first 2 years on tour, I was still basing myself here in Stillwater because I didn't want to leave this place. I mean, for me, I came over on a few different recruit trips to a few different schools, but as soon as I saw the facilities here, I was sold. This is what I needed. This is what I thought was going to help me get ready for tour life, and it did. I mean, to this point, even though I'm playing my 9th year on tour right now, I can say that the practice facilities here and this golf course is still some of the best that I have seen anywhere in the world. And this course just gets you ready for tour life. Like both the coaches said, it tests every part of your game, and especially makes you mentally strong too, I believe.
Is there a specific part of the game that's going to have to stand out for the women student athletes that are here for that week? Is there one part that they have to do this in order to play well?
I mean, obviously, when you are trying to win a championship, everything kind of has to work. But the first thing that comes to my mind is just putting. These greens, it took me at least my first semester, my freshman year, if not even longer, to just figure these greens out. And talking on tour now to a lot of the girls that been here for the Ping Invitational, the junior event. I mean, all those girls, they just shake their heads and they're like, I don't know how many 4-putts I've had around that place. And we're talking about, I mean, they're now winners out on the LPGA Tour. So the green complexes are probably the one thing that stands out in my mind.
And finally, one of the great traditions of winning the ANA is what you get to do to celebrate. Have you gone over with Courtney that if their team wins it all, jumping into Lake Louise and how exactly they should do that? Have you diagrammed exactly that plan?
So Daniel, my caddy and fiance, I think he was going to give Coach Bratton a diving lesson. Wasn't that our bet when we said we were coming
But he
here?
was
Yeah.
upside down, correct? So we got to make sure we know what the bottom. Okay, I just
Yeah,
want to make sure.
Pernilla has had me jump in the water before. I
Yeah,
had
that
to
was
do
actually
at
a
Arizona
bet
State.
at the ASU tournament one year. That was our bet going there with Coach Bratton.
Is there any footage of that? I'm just asking for a friend. I just want to
I
make
don't think so.
Okay, all right.
But I
Not
promise
that
he
would
jumped
air.
in.
And so congratulations and welcome back. So that's
Thank
great.
you.
And it's really a cool testimony when you go around the country and see the major champions and when they come back to the schools and what it means when they come back to campus. It's very cool. So congratulations again. The next person, he asked me to ask for you guys to hold your applause. He came in on a police escort from Norman, which I think was broadcast live, which was kind of a cool thing. Which is pretty neat. And he was in the pro shop looking for some Christmas gifts, which I thought was kind of nice too, which was pretty impressive. But he is the head coach of the defending national champion Oklahoma Sooners, Ryan Hybl, and the current conference Big 12 champions. You and I were just talking before. Last year in the practice round, we sat there on the 17th hole on Thursday, and you talked about if your team could all bring it together and win it all, or if you could play well and bring it together, you could win it all. Can you talk about that experience and what it took for your team to be national champions last year?
Well, so last year's team was very strong. On paper, coming in, I want to say we were a 16 or 17 seed, so maybe a little under the radar for everybody else out there, but we knew that we were good enough to go compete and try and win a championship. But our championship is such a long week. We were up in Chicago for 9 days, and so it's such a grind. You're qualifying. It's a qualifying process. You play 3 rounds to get in the low 15, and then you play another round to get in the low 8, and then you set your mind on match play. So it's such a long week. But I knew that if our guys could come together, because there were moments last year that you could see them whenever they did come together that we were good enough, we were talented enough to actually get it done. And sure enough, it really popped at the right moment last year for us. And they really gritted their way through our first match against Baylor, which was very, very difficult. And we were down in all 5 matches at one point going into the back 9, and we ended up skating away with the win there. And then from that point on, I just feel like our confidence just kept building and building, and it allowed us to manage the other matches and get a championship.
Normally, the defending champion is the one with the bullseye on their back, but it seems like all season, Oklahoma State's been the #1 team in the country. How has that been for your team in terms of behind the scenes, respect factor? Has that been a positive? Has that been a driving force? How have you handled that as a coach?
These guys have always got a bullseye on their back. They have for 50-plus years. That's what this program has done. Look at where we're at right now, this facility that they have. They're phenomenal. Alan and Donnie, they do such a great job with their guys. And they have a tremendous group of guys that are very, very talented. So they've always got a bullseye. That's what Alan was alluding to earlier. For us, we're just trying to get by day. Right now, I know we're all here talking about Carson Creek, but we're worried about regional championship. We started our prep work yesterday and thinking about Jimmy Austin, where we play every single day. But when you're hosting, as these guys will, it's just different. A championship on your home golf course, things are a little different. The golf course plays a little bit, I don't want to say awkward, it's just a different challenge There's other distractions that we're going to try and eliminate and whatnot. So we're going to try and worry about getting through regionals first, and then we'll figure out what's going on up here in Stillwater.
We're going to play the what if game, and we're not allowed to root, but what if it became Oklahoma State on that Wednesday on the men's side? Have you allowed yourself to look ahead and say, what would it be like at Karsten Creek, defending national champs, playing the best team in the country on paper in front of thousands and thousands of fans on national television? Have you allowed yourself to creep and think ahead?
No, I haven't.
Let's say you do.
Let's say we do. It would be awesome. It would be phenomenal. Like Alan was talking about earlier, the state of Oklahoma, they're so great with their golf. They love amateur golf. Our fans will come out, and I know all the Cowboys will be out here supporting their guys. So, yeah, it would be phenomenal. But you know what? The women's championship, our women's team is good too. I mean, heck, who knows? They could have a great championship up here with the Sooners and the Cowboys as well, and then hopefully we can follow them right on up. But it would be phenomenal for the state of Oklahoma. For us, we've been able to play our conference championship at Southern Hills over in Tulsa. We get to host at Jimmy Austin in Norman, and then hopefully be able to come up here. So really special month for us being in our home state.
And then for all three coaches, specifically from your team, what will it take to get through regionals? And then what will it take to have a successful week here if you're able to make it?
I don't think it's going to have to take anything special. I think we're just going to have to go and play our game. We've got 5 very talented young ladies, and just go and play their game. We haven't had all spring. We haven't really had everyone fire at the same time, which is really exciting for me. It's starting to come together as a team. And I mean, I think the possibilities for this team are endless if all 5 of us really fire at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I'm looking for my guys to create some great momentum for themselves, each individually. I mean, we talk about it as a team sport, but when they're out there on their own, we just kind of add them up at the end of 18 holes and add up our team score after that. So I want my guys to go perform at regionals to try and go win a regional championship individually, and then we'll figure it out as a team. No different than when we're up here at Karsten Creek. I want guys competing for a national championship, and again, our team stuff will come into play on the backside. Then once we get into match play, things change a little bit. But right now, we're just trying to get everybody's games honed up, and our game plans prepared for like we always do, and the rest of it will kind of take care of itself.
Well, for us, these guys said it. We just need to be ourselves. And you go out there every day. You got to take care of your business at the regional. Our goal will be to end up at the top of the leaderboard. And the way you do that, you be yourself every day, you work your plan, and you try to win every day. That'll be the goal throughout, no different than it is anywhere else.
And I know Alan said that his member number is 1505 with the Pokes discount. So whenever we're done, if you want to swing in there.
I told you, his stuff is free in the
well,
show.
Okay. Let me know how that goes. Turn it over to our student athletes that are here, Kenzie Nyson and Christopher Ventura. Before we start, Christopher, we were talking, I had the great pleasure about 6-7 years ago to produce the first event ever in Oslo, the Suzanne Pedersen and Friends. And you said you were there that day. I got to be honest with you, when I got off the plane in Oslo, at no point did I say, damn, this looks a lot like Stillwater. How did you get from there to here? Can you just tell that story real quick?
Well, I started off committed to ASU at first. That was the only school that I talked to for a while. And then I decommitted, and I told him that I wanted 4 more months to think about my decision. And then I met Coach Barron and decided to commit. And then after that, I just talked to a couple of former players. I talked to Pablo, I talked to Rafael, and I ended up here without visiting. I knew that Ricky and a couple other guys had been through here, and that was it for me. And honestly, the difference between Norway and Stillwater is huge. 2 different worlds, but this is probably the best decision that I've made so far. So I'm really happy with it, and I'm looking forward to getting it done this year.
Did you go to that Eskimo Joe's in Oslo much, or was this the first time when you came here?
I don't think they have one there.
No?
No, I don't think so. No.
For both of you, how excited are you for the NCAAs to be hosted at your home course?
Well, we're very excited. It's been really exciting driving into Carson every day and seeing the national championship signs. It's very motivating to come in here every day, and it's been really exciting and fun to see the process of just how the course has evolved since they've started getting it ready. And I know all of our girls, we come out here every day and practice, and we're so excited, and we talk a lot about when we're on the course that, gosh, we're really excited for everyone to come out here and actually see what it's like, because we kind of think it's a hidden gem, and just how much we've got to play out here. We're excited to see what other people think about it, because we still go out there and it can still kick our butt sometimes. So we're really looking forward to it, and looking forward to leaving for regionals on Saturday.
For me, it's mainly just playing in front of a lot of people. I think that's something that I haven't gotten to do very often. So I think that'll be really fun to compete in front of a lot of people, a lot of fans. Hopefully it gets really loud out there. And I mean, obviously we have an advantage with the home course, but maybe that puts a little extra pressure, maybe not. But overall, I think it'll be a great championship. And for my teammates and me, I mean, we're just trying to prepare for it as good as we can, and so we have a chance on the last day.
I asked this to Ryan a little bit. Golf's such a mental game, and you have to play in the present. But as seniors, have you allowed yourself the what if to look ahead and say, man, as a senior, lifting the trophy at our home course, have you let yourself get there at all?
Sure. I've done that.
See that, Ryan? It's good. It's doable. Okay.
I've thought about it. I've dreamt about it. So, I mean, yeah, obviously it's kind of amazing that it's my last year, and it happens to be here. So I think that's really cool. I'm going to do everything that I can to have a chance, and I know that my teammates will do the same. But obviously, we just want to treat it as a regular tournament. We're talented enough. We've been practicing really hard, so I think that we have nothing to worry about in the sense of pressure and expectations. But we've kind of dealt with it this year with all the streak we had going, and then we lost a couple of times. So I think overall, this is something that's going to prepare us for winning the championship. Yeah.
I agree with Chris. It's hard not to think about it every once in a while, and I know before I started my college career and coming to Oklahoma State, like, it's just been a dream to be able to win a national championship, and to be back here or have the championship here at Carson is extremely special and really exciting that we have a chance to do that, especially my last year, just to be back in front of all of our fans and the community here. So, and I think all the girls probably think about it too. We look at it more as motivation, like I kind of had said earlier, and that it's really exciting, and try not to put too much pressure on ourselves.
And finally, we posed this question before. The keys to playing Carson Creek successfully would be?
Just hit the fairway, hit the green, and two-putt.
and you're done? You call it a day?
I mean, I'd say so. It's a fair course. There's nothing special. You got to hit it good. Your short game has to be good. You got to putt it good. So overall, just...
Other than that, is there anything else that you would say?
Pretty much just do everything good, and you'll be fine. Yeah.
I agree. If you can stay out of the rough, that's a really good thing, because it's getting really thick now, and we've always been told to double the break of what we think, and that's something that's taken a really long time to learn out here to trust, because the greens will be tough, but fairways and greens will be the key.
And then a follow-up on that, the great format is that you play stroke play and then you get into match play. Can you talk about the difference of this golf course specifically, of your mentality of playing at stroke play versus match play? A golf course that you play every day, and I don't know if you play much match play and qualify or anything like that, but how certain lines would change, how aggressive would you be? Because from our perspective, it seems like such an incredible match play golf course.
I think for us, for some of our practices, we've gone out and just played stroke play and kept our score.
We'll just put that right there. That's fine. No problem.
And a few others we've done match play too, so we've got to practice both of them, and I think the mentality will be very different. Stroke play may be a little more conservative, just because you could potentially get into a lot of trouble, but I think for match play, I mean, I can think now just sitting here how it would change some of my thought processes on holes that I know I could maybe take advantage of and go for them, and like par fives and two, and try to make birdies.
For me, and I can speak for some of my teammates too, that we'll just play the same way that we've been doing for the last, at least I have for the last 4 years. So I've had 4 years to prepare for this tournament, if you think about it like that. And I think we're kind of playing it perfect. So I think that match play, stroke play it'll play the same for us. We'll take the same lines. Maybe the occasional going for a par four or something like that, but other than that, just play the same way and play like we usually do out here when we're playing against each other. And I think we'll take care of our business.
That's great. Before we break any more of the clubhouse, there's two caveats too that are pretty cool from the NCAAs. The semifinalist teams for both the women's and the men's are invited to play in the East Lake Cup that we put on in the fall at East Lake in Atlanta, Georgia, which is such an incredible event. And then the Marathon Classic will award a sponsor's exemption to the individual women's champion, and also from the team, they get to pick one player to play, which is really a pretty neat perk. You don't add anything, do you? Like a lesson or you can't take them to dinner, right? You can't do any of that stuff. You do it. Anything there that you can add? Tuesday practice round?
I mean,
Can we bid something to charity at this point?
I'm sure we can add something extra in there for sure. I mean, a tour of Toledo in itself.
There you
right?
go, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, it's done. So let's put that on the record. So if you happen to get there, Toledo, down, you're in. It'll be fantastic. But no, that's another caveat that when we get there, and that's another storyline that we follow that whole time. Finally, and we're going to open up the Q&As in a little bit. If you see the signs over there with Driven, a lot of you may know about it, you may not know about it. We've had a chance to screen a little bit, and tonight is the premiere screening here, so you all are invited to come back. It's an incredible show. It's the inside to Oklahoma State men and a little bit Oklahoma sprinkled in there as well. And we put the bidding out for directors and producers. And I mean, we had Spielberg and Ron Howard, and we had everybody. And we settled on this guy named Ricky Fowler. And we wanted to give him a chance, just to give his production company a chance, and thought it might be a nice thing. But it's really cool to see what Ricky's done. And Alan can attest that they've been following him all spring behind the scenes. And to see his passion, his involvement, and want to get that story out is really incredible. So we want to give you a little sneak peek. And again, the rest of you are invited tonight. I highly recommend it. I've watched it twice. I even know what's going to happen, and I keep watching it over and over, and it's really, really a cool show. So let's take a look. It's a hell of a show. That's not good? Move on. Anyhow, so that premieres tonight. Told me he was supposed to be there. So I've broken the AV and we've broken this. Other than that, we're doing great. We do want to open it before we wrap up. Any question in to any of the coaches, any of the student athletes, to Pernilla or to the committee? Is there anybody that has anything?
For the three ladies, can you talk about the significance of Carson hosting its first women's national championship?
Yeah, I mean, not only just hosting it, but then also being showcased to the world. I think it's, we're so fortunate right now, the time in women's golf, and with partnering with the Golf Channel, to have the opportunity to showcase these young ladies and how talented they are. I think the game of women's golf is in its very best right now, and I know that the future is going to just keep getting better and better. So to be able to showcase that here at Karsten Creek is, it's incredible.
I just think it's going to be really cool for the rest of the world to be able to see Karsten Creek. I mean, I've been trying to tell people for years about this place, but it's just hard to really describe it. So that's, I think, the most exciting thing for everyone, just to showcase this place, and hopefully it'll help with some recruiting going forward.
I agree with everything you guys had said. Women's golf has been growing a lot over the years, so it's really exciting to be a part of the first national championship, or potentially be the first, or be a part of the first national championship here at Karsten. And for the girls to have an opportunity to play out here will be pretty special.
Ryan, you kind of mentioned it earlier. What's it like this last month of the season where you get to play most of your golf in state, not too far, including your national tournaments at your home course?
Well, it's awesome for our guys, to hop in a vehicle last week and drive over to Tulsa, and this week or next week when we go to regionals at our home place, we're still going to go stay in a hotel, but it's our hometown. Hopefully, a lot of fans are going to come out, so it's comfortable and casual, but yet big time, and we're looking forward to our moment here in a couple weeks at regionals, and then hopefully if we make it through and do a good job there, then hopefully we'll get a great moment up here too.
And follow up on that, I know we asked the student athletes, this golf course, stroke play versus match play for both, actually all three coaches. Just walk through specifically this golf course. Would 6 play different? Would 12 play different? Would the par 5s play different? Because it seems like there's certain golf courses that it doesn't change that much. But we've had, with our championships, if you think of Concession, if you think of Rich Harvest, specific holes that change dramatically from stroke play to match play. Can you just touch on that?
Going around here, I actually played here in the 03 championship. Miserable experience for myself. And I coached here in 2011. That was our first championship, being the golf coach here at the University of Oklahoma. But and that wasn't a great experience either. So that maybe this year we're going to have a better experience up here. I don't know. When it comes to match play, I feel like very similar to what Chris was saying. One poor golf swing is going to put you out of a hole out here. And a hole like number 12, don't get me wrong, you could push it, but I'm still looking. I mean, it's an easy hole that I don't know why you would maybe challenge yourself when it's a 4-iron wedge and you're going to have an opportunity for a birdie putt. That's the way I look at it. Now, if a guy's feeling it and the whole location is right, I could see you maybe doing that. But I think the more opportunities you get from the fairway, more opportunities you get on the green, the more opportunities you're going to probably beat people. Just because this golf course is hard, you have to be able to hit the ball great. You have to be able to chip it. You have to be able to putt it. You have to do everything great around here. So I just think the more times you can put yourself with that opportunity, you're probably going to beat some folks.
Yeah, some of it's going to be determined by the setup. We don't get to impact that. Fortunately for us, we will have played from anywhere that they can put it, so we'll know what to do. But it is a fantastic finish here with challenging holes, 15, 16, 17, and then you get a chance to make a birdie at the end. So course setup will determine some of that. It should be a great setup for stroke play and match play regardless.
Yeah, and I think just the momentum swings that you can see in both stroke play and match play. I think on the women's course setup, there's a few holes that could potentially be drivable, like 12. Our girls play there quite a bit, and it might be 3-woods or hybrids. So that's a pretty fun hole that I don't know if they're going to have that same setup during stroke play. But regardless, I mean, just taking the course management plan in and taking advantage of really good shots and good momentum.
Any other questions for the panel?
You talked about the rough earlier, and obviously 2011, that was a big story as well. How much more dangerous is this course with the rough the way it is for these championships for the three coaches?
Well, it definitely changes some things this time of year. I mean, if we were to play in the fall, Karsten Creek always has rough. It's Bermuda then. With the springtime that we have, if we had just left at Bermuda, you wouldn't have much rough. So we've got nice, thick ryegrass rough out there. So it changes a few things around the greens. You can't maybe blow it up as close to some of them. You have to think a little more about where you want to position your ball. As Ryan said, it's a huge advantage here to be in the fairway, as it should be at a major championship.
The young ladies hit it so straight and far that being in the fairway, I mean, they are in the fairway a lot. But it does change a few things around the greens and just some of those shots, touch and feel shots around the greens. But I guess it's really fun to see just how this course sets up for women, and I think it'll really showcase the ladies.
Anyone else? Anything?
In 2011, I remember the crowds, and they showed that clip earlier of Sean Einhaus and the roar that went up. I was walking with Kevin Tway at the time, and we were on the 17th tee, and I had an experience that I've never had in college golf for sure, and really anywhere. I could look across the lake and see Sean was about to putt. Kevin was getting ready to tee off, and I thought about stopping him, backing him off, because I knew if that putt went in, it was going to be loud. And he was, I think, 1 down in his match. I didn't want that to affect him. And I ended up keeping my mouth shut, and he got the tee ball off just before that roar. But that's the things I look forward to. We had a chance to win there. We fell a little short. But I think the world's gotten to see the player that Patrick Reed is. He put it on Peter Uihlein that day. But still a very good experience from our perspective. And what I remember is the crowds, and I hope we can deliver on that again.
Anyone? We'll get into breakout sessions when we're done. I've been told the Driven clip is ready. So again, this is premieres May 7th at 10 o'clock Eastern. 4 episodes, and they've been following this crew around majority of the time. And I don't want to give too much away, but there is a beach football scene, Alan, correct? Which I don't know will be in here, but it's a must-watch. And apparently there's some controversy, but again, I don't want to give too much away that it almost disrupted the team. But let's take a look at Driven.
What's up, guys? Ricky here. Just want to give you a sneak peek at a project I've been working on. Has to do with some people and a place that are pretty close to my heart.
At first glance, the game can seem to be simple. An undertaking as clear and true as the greens upon which it is played. Yet here, deep in the heartland, the depth and ferocity of the sport will soon be on display.
No matter where you're from, once you're a part of Oklahoma State, this is a big, big deal.
As preseason favorites look to defend home turf.
We've got 11 guys who are ready to go out there and bring home our 11th national championship.
In their path, the reigning title holders.
We don't ever want to lose to Oklahoma State. They don't ever want to lose to us, I can promise you that.
For the first time ever, executive producer Ricky Fowler, the writer, producer of All Access Mayweather vs. McGregor and NBC Sports, bring you inside collegiate golf like never before.
So it should be fantastic. And by the way, when you introduce yourself as a single name, like Beyonce or Madonna, you're Ricky. That's when you know you've made it, which I thought was pretty impressive. But anyhow, thank you all very much for coming out. 2 weeks away from the Golf Channel's perspective, it's an honor for us to be part of these championships, and we cannot wait to get here. So thank you, everybody. I know we'll have any breakout or any individual specific Q&As that you all have. So thank you very much for coming.